All right. Good morning. I think we're live. Yes. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you're here on the freedailycoaching.com call. We've been having a really good time over in chat this morning. So I'm hoping that if you're on this call, if you have connected via the actual Google or the webinars on air, that you have turned on your chat and you're over there having a good time with us in chat, just being silly. You'll notice that there's a sneaky guy on here this morning. Interact with him because I'm sure that he will do something funny back for you as well. I'm Felicia Mupo, so I am going to be the guest host this morning. This is normally Bert Bledsoe's call. So normally Bert Bledsoe is on here. This is the call that he hosts every morning at 10:30 Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. So you can always come here for a bit of inspiration, for mindset, for tech tips, for some interaction with a great supportive community of people that are all here bettering themselves, bettering their business, mostly in the space of online marketing and online networking, some small business owners, some network marketers. So gives you an opportunity to really tie into a community, have some interaction with other people on a regular basis. Like I said, Monday through Friday. The funnest day, I think, is Friday, because on Friday there is a Friday fiesta, Friday free-for-all, where we all come out and we share what's happened, what we've done this week, what's happened in the actions that we've taken, and some of the results, good or bad. So that's a fun day. But on Wednesdays, I have the privilege of guest hosting with Bert, for Bert, however you want to put it, and sharing a bit of information that I'm learning along my journey as being a network marketer and an online marketer, and things that I'm learning from other people, things that I'm learning from reading. So Wednesdays, at least for now, a little bit of a hodgepodge day, whatever it is that I've got going on that I would like to share with you that I think would help you grow your business. So I'm glad that you're here, whether you're watching on Google, whether you're watching on YouTube, if you've stuck in that way, or if you are here on the Hangout with us. So good morning. There's a lot of regulars on here this morning, Phil and Patty, Karen, Nancy, thanks for playing with us this morning, although nobody did tell me what they had for breakfast. I was having a last minute breakfast as we were going on air. Christina, I've had a fun time with you lately. We've had a lot of chance to work together. Christina and I were just part of a large business builder challenge, and we both got awarded there. So Christina, fun to see you here because we're having a lot of things going on together lately. And Jack and Emmy and Tom, same thing. So just Tom and Christina and I came in a three-way tie for an award, which is really fun because we work together so well and we're together so often, but yet we do business in a very, very different way. However, in this challenge that we were in, we all got recognized for the exact same award, but I think for very different reasons, which is really a lot of fun. Sandy and Jan and Kevin or Pauline. I'm thinking it's Pauline, but I'm not totally sure on that. And then Debbie, good to see you dear. Good morning. I know there's a few more people jumping off, but I'm going to hop back over to chat. Now I get a little bit of info on what people had for breakfast, and it's and I like Jack's with the blueberries and bagel and coffee. So I had blueberry oatmeal, something that I could grab right as I came in. So hopefully you have had your Power Pack breakfast as well. And let's get going. There's let me know over in the chat. There's a book that I'm going to talk about a segment of today. It's a book that was assigned to me as part of a mastermind group that I am in with Adam Chandler and Justice Egan, and I am making my way through the book. But if you have read The Big Leap, it's by Gay Hendricks. It's got two fish bowls on it, a little fish bowl and a goldfish that's jumping out of the little fish bowl over into the big one. Let me know over in the chat or raise your hand if you have read that book and you've got something that you would like to share about that book, because that's what we're going to be talking about this morning, and I would love to bring you over if you've got something to share, and we can have some discussion going there. Yes, Mr. Incognito. I didn't call you out, but I'm glad that you're here this morning, peeking in on us. All right, so there's been a ton of stuff going on this week. I know many of us are in a community called My Lead System Pro. There's been a lot of activity happening in that community this week. If you are not a member of that, if you are connected with any of us that you see here in the chat and on this group, I'm sure you're hearing about some of the activity. The close of one big program called the 100-Day Biz Builder Challenge, which has been going on for the last 14 weeks, so the last 100 days, and it just wrapped up on Monday. There's a launch of another program that's happening right now, which is a matter of fact, if you are looking at something called the Guru Code, I have personally jumped in. I absolutely see the value in what's being offered there with the Hockmans of Diane Hockman and Larry Hockman, and the combination of those two, so very powerful. So if you are looking at the Guru Code, or if you are in, congratulations, I'll be there with you. I know Bert will be there with you as well. If you have not checked it out for yourself, absolutely, whoever invited you here today, if they are a member, if they have a link to that information about the Guru Code, get that from them and check it out for yourself. It is going to be a powerful 10 weeks of training on not only marketing, which is a lot of what we train on a regular basis, the marketing, the how-tos, how to say things, how to persuade people, or how to technically do something on our computers, but then also the mindset, the competence, and the self-confidence to put yourself out there. And that's really what I want to talk about this morning, is about the big leap. In that book with Gabe Hendricks. I know that I think I saw Nancy read it a long time ago. So Nancy, this will probably bring back some memories for you, and maybe a reason to pick up the book again. It's not I don't think it's a very tough read, although I am listening to it on Audible because my kids started back to school yesterday, and as some of y'all know, that I've got this very long commute. So if you're one of those people like me that are in the car for a tremendous amount of time, definitely turn your car time into your learning time. It's just drive time university for me. Typically when the kids are not in the car, because I can't focus on the kids and driving and a book all at the same time without running red lights. But when the kids aren't in the car with me, I do that. So anyway, there's one part of the book that talks about the zones of activities, or the zone of activity. So there's 4 different zones in which your activity can fall into. Now know that you may jump from zone to zone in different parts of your day, or different bits of activity that you're doing, and that makes perfect sense. We're not necessarily going to always live in one zone of activity. But let me break them down for you, and you'll realize that there's one zone in particular that you want to try to make sure that your overall life is targeted towards, and that you're living in. The first one is the zone of incompetence. So that is a place where you are struggling. As Adam Chandler puts it, it's kind of the life sucks stage, because you are doing a lot of things that you don't like, that you're not good at, that therefore a lot of other people are better at you at doing this. And I know for many of us coming into network marketing or coming into online marketing, at least a portion of our lives, we lived in that zone of incompetence, where there were people out there that were a lot better at doing things than we are, or that we were. But it's good to live in that for a bit until you can build it up to the next stage, which is the zone of competence, or the zone of competent, or the zone of competence, where you're capable of doing things. If it comes to online marketing, I know the very first time that I hosted a webinar, I was pretty incompetent. I made one big blunder. It didn't break down my webinar, but it made one big blunder. I know that many of us here on the call, the first time that we hosted a webinar, the first time that we hosted a call, the first time that we shot our own marketing video, you would have felt like that you were clearly in the zone of incompetence. You didn't know what you were doing. You didn't even know what to ask to do because you didn't know what to do yet. And then once you did it a couple of times, you got to the zone of competence where you're able to do it. But there are still people out there that can do it better than you can, and you know that. You know that people are out there that are doing a better job than you. If you want to get better at that activity that you're doing, then keep doing it. Keep moving along that path and move it up to a higher level zone. But if it's not something that you care to get better at, that's about the time that we start outsourcing, where we at least understand what it is that we're doing. However, it's we can start outsourcing it because we know what's going to happen. We understand the process enough that we know what we're outsourcing there. Then you move on to it. Well, also in the zone of where you're competent, you're in a burden of unfulfillment. You're doing things, and Mr. Incognito, I am trying to bring you over. You're doing things that you're not being necessarily fulfilled by. You can do them, you can accomplish that task, but it's not giving you the personal enjoyment, it's not giving you the personal fulfillment that you seek that's really going to drive you to keep going in that direction. That's where a lot of people quit, because they keep doing activity, but they're not necessarily seeing the results, and they haven't painted a big enough picture for themselves and a big enough vision that's going to keep them going over to the next one, which is the zone of excellence. This is where you're doing activities extremely well. So not only are you I'm trying to bring you over. Let's see. Sorry. I'm trying to bring Mr. Incognito over, and it doesn't look like it's working so good. So hopefully he joins us here in a second. But under the zone of excellence, you're doing things extremely well. You have mastered the how-tos. You may have even mastered the why-tos, and you're starting to expand on that. However, we start getting addicted to comfort in that stage. So the zone of excellence, things are just chugging along. You can be making a lot of money in your zone of excellence. You can be teaching other people in your zone of excellence. You can be chugging along and seemingly getting a lot of stuff done in your zone of excellence, but you're not necessarily liberated yet. You're not seeing your full fulfillment. You're not necessarily stretching yourself and pushing yourself out there to take that big leap while you're in your zone of excellence. It's a place of comfort. I think that is in this 100-Day Business Builder Challenge that several of us just went through. We went through at least those zones so far, and at least part of our activity, where we were in the zone of incompetence because we didn't even know what we should be doing. And that's where the daily method of operation came in. That's where a lot of the tactical how-tos of how to work certain marketing strategies came through. Hang on, let me pause here. And those of y'all who have ever been on a webinar with me before realize that I am not good at talking and typing at the same time. So I am going to bring over Mr. Incognito, and I probably look kind of silly right now because I'm looking at a different screen. There you go, sir. Should be on its way to you. Okay. All right. So Mr. Incognito, sneaky guy, is going to join us here in just a minute, but had to send him a link a different way. But anyway, so a lot of us, started with the incompetence. We got to the point of competence. We were putting out content on a regular basis. We were interacting on social media on a regular basis. We learned what makes good content and how to disseminate that information, how to get people to start attending calls like this or calls, opportunity calls with your primary marketing network marketing company if you're in one, or things like that. We got to the point of competence. Some people even got to the point of excellence where they can regularly have people attending what it is that they're doing or following them along a path and entering into their sales funnel. I don't know how many of us, though, went to the next zone, which is the zone of genius. Now, Bert, before I jump into the zone of genius, I know you wanted to come over a little bit earlier, so are there things that you wanted to share about those first 3 zones or just the message overall before I jump into that?
No, no, I was just waiting. I'll wait till the end. I wanna hear all of it first.
Okay, all right. Well, you can be patient then. He's sitting back chilling, so that's a fun way to see Bert. But the next one is the zone of genius. This is really your calling. This is where you're going to find your liberation. This is where you're going to have those big moments that you hopefully have envisioned in your head right now. Like, for example, if your goal is to speak on stage at a major event, right now you should have in your vision and in your head not just that you want to speak on stage, but what will you be wearing? What will you be talking about? What stage will it be on? What will the face of the people that are looking at you, what will those faces look like? What will the lights feel like? Will they be hot? Will they be coming from the top? Will they be coming from the bottom? Will there be cameras facing at you? How many cameras will be there? What will be the reaction of the crowd as you give your speech? What will that reaction be? All of those kind of things in your head. When you take that leap, when you are willing to put yourself out there to really capture that zone of genius, that's when you're fulfilling those kind of visions. Now, I'll tell you, most of us probably don't ever get there because it takes a huge leap. It really takes letting things go, letting some control go, and be willing to put yourself out there and burn the ships behind you. If you're not willing to burn the ships behind you, you're going to stay in your point of excellence, where you are weighing the positives versus the negatives, and staying risk averse. Living in a zone of genius is not one of being risk averse. And I'll tell you, that's I live in a world of mitigating risk, figuring out how far can I go where I still know that I can come back and I could possibly go down a different path. And I do know that will keep me and that will keep anybody else that's in that similar position from living within their zone of genius. But always with the ultimate goal of living in that zone of genius, of absolute personal fulfillment. And oftentimes that comes with bringing other people along with you and helping them see those, helping them achieve those goals for themselves and see that spectacular occurrence happen. Now, Bert, I know you've got something to add there, so let me go ahead and hand it over to you for a bit and see what you've got.
No, I was just hanging out, and I just raised my hand because there was something that you were talking about, and I don't know exactly because I was doing a bunch of different things. I was listening and uploading some videos, and one of the things that you were talking about, it struck me, and I don't know why it struck me, probably because I had a conversation with someone yesterday about this exact thing. About what you were talking about. It's like this beginning time when we start to work and we're doing things and we kind of get it, right? Like you talked about the very first webinar and you're like, oh, I didn't know what I was doing, right? You're just like totally incompetent. You're like, oh. it's like things are crashing and people are like flying off the webinar and like YouTube blew up and you're like, what happened? I don't have a link, and like your microphone's not even on, so everyone's just watching you and it goes like this. Right? And you're like, and they have no idea what's going on. You don't know until 20 minutes in. So there's all these different, the cycles that you talked about, these different stages that we move through, and I think it was during that second stage, and when this triggered something in my head, like, oh, I just had this experience with someone yesterday. There's this in-between stage where we kind of get it, but there's still people that know more, right? During that stage, this is the biggest hurdle. Because we have this moment of, oh, I get this, I could do this, we then somehow, sometimes, this has just been my experience for myself and what I've seen in others, sometimes we disconnect at that point. You're like, it's all good, Felicia. Thanks for letting me be a guest on your webinar, but I got this now, okay? I know how to do webinars. I got this covered. And then all of a sudden we float out on our own, and then like a couple months later we look around and we're like, oh, I'm all by myself over here. What happened? What happened, right? I thought I was doing it. I thought I was doing all the things I was supposed to do, and most of the time we were, except for one thing. We thought we knew something, and when we thought we knew something, we kind of separated away from the bigger pack, the group, right? And like the Peloton, right? Like we thought we were that guy. Like, did you think you're that guy on the bicycle that was going to take off away from the whole Peloton? And then like 10 miles down the road, you realize, like, dude, I did not have enough go-go juice to make this happen for the whole race, right? I should have stayed with the group. So something that you said in those stages just struck me, that it's a very precarious, there's a very fine line from one stage of development, if you will, till the next. And sometimes that line is so fine that we don't see it. And so by you literally blocking, how I was thinking of it, I don't know if anyone played, did you play Foursquare when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, totally.
Like handball and Foursquare? That's what I was imagining, right? You were telling me about these 4 phases, and I was thinking, oh, it's like I'm walking into the Foursquare game, and I'm starting at this square and like moving, like I was thinking of it like a square clock, like I'm moving around. And how important is it, guys, and I hope someone else wrote these down because I was just chilling. I was like totally chilling, but I guess I'll have the recording, right? Because it's so important to really see, and I'm seeing it, right, guys? Sorry, but I'm like seeing it in my mind's eye. It's so important to see those 4 areas, those 4 different sections, because those lines are so fine. You don't even know sometimes that you crossed over into that next line. And when Felicia points it out to you, having people to work with like Felicia, it really makes it a little bit easier, right? When it comes down to it, it makes it easier. And the reason I wanted to share that was because specifically someone that's running with us called me yesterday and said, "What am I doing?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And this person was like, "I'm like plugged in, and then all of a sudden I just thought I could do it on my own. I just thought I would just run it and go for it." Which is great. Do it on your own, right? Like, do your thing, but do it with the support of the group to make sure that you're still in the right quadrant. Because sometimes you don't even know. You could go backwards. You could be backpedaling, slipping back. All of a sudden you're into incompetence, running around, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, what just happened? Someone looks over and they're like, dude, you're totally incompetent. Do you know what you're talking about? You're like, no, I have no idea. Like, how did I get over into this Twitter training thing? That's like me all of a sudden teaching you guys about Twitter. I'm like, oh, man, what did I just get myself into? I'm totally incompetent. Call Tom Leonard. Right? Call Tom. Get some help. So that was all, Felicia. You sparked something in me that made me think about how important it is to be connected to a group of people that are doing this, and how important it really is to be connected with leaders, people like yourself that are diving into this type of stuff on a regular basis, so that you can lay it out and show everyone, hey, guys, are you noticing? Where are you? Right? Because that's the next question, is where is everyone? What quadrant, what section are you in? And how do we get out of there? Now, that's it. I'm not hogging. I'm done.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, and it was good. It was good to see it, hear that you see it as like 4 squares, because I see them as different colors. So I also see them blocked off, and I visualize colors in my head as to which zone I'm living in. And it's not necessarily even the primary colors, because the primary colors aren't always my favorite colors. But that's kind of how I see it, and I see myself, if I'm slipping into that zone of incompetence. I mean, that one's clearly red for me. I don't really like the color red, and it's that danger zone for me. I know that we have to live there, because if we're ever going to launch anything new, it's going to always start in that zone of incompetence. But then also the point that you said about going out there a little bit, or going out their way on your own and not staying with a supportive pack, because the idea of living in a zone of genius means that you are doing the thing that you and only you are uniquely suited to do. Like, what skills, what passions, what bit of your heart, what in your past are you so uniquely suited to do that nobody else could do it the same way that you do? Now, we all know that Bert has a lot of things in his life that he is so uniquely suited to do that nobody could duplicate. If anybody ever tried to copy it, it just wouldn't quite come off the same way. It probably wouldn't even come off right, because it's so much from his heart in the way that he does things. It's not calculated. It's not something that he is copying from somebody else, so therefore nobody can uniquely copy that or duplicate that within him. When you're living in that zone of that zone of genius where you're doing that, you need other people around you that are also living in their zone of excellence and their zone of genius to fill those gaps and those voids that you have, because your genius is not going to fill everything that you need in life. Does that kind of make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Cool, cool. Well, I know we're coming up on the top of the hour. I hope that was a clear message for everybody. And if you haven't read the book before, it's The Big Leap. It's a real easy book. It is out on Audible, and that's how I'm listening to it on Audible. There's several other pieces from that book that I have picked up. That was just one portion of the one portion, I think, of one chapter. That was just a very small piece of it, but an interesting read, and definitely one to look to pick up and to look into. Now, there's some other activity. I told you there's a ton of things that are happening in our community this week, so there's even more that's coming up. Tonight, there's a call. It's with Lisa Grossman. So I don't know how many of y'all have heard Lisa Grossman talk in the past, have been following what it is that she promotes and shares out on her social media. But let me tell you, an extremely encouraging person has done just done an outstanding job of networking through people. She is one of those people that you can meet and have a very endearing conversation with, feeling very comfortable with her and having this conversation with her, and then months later run across her again, have a conversation, and she's got the ability to remember you, to love you, and remember what it is that you talked about and what was important to you, bring that back around into the conversation. That means she really cares about people. She's really listening to what people are sharing with her. Anyway, she's going to be on the My Lead System Pro call tonight. It's going to start at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. When we finish here, I'm going to send you over so that way you can get registered for that call if you are not registered for that call already. So you're going to have the ability to register right after this. Also, tomorrow, Thursday, I'm going to be hosting a webinar. It's 2 o'clock Eastern Time. It's a webinar that's about how to get started online. And I didn't put this in the chat. I'll go ahead and do it now. See if I can spell my name right. But as some of y'all know, every week I host a free training call on Thursdays. It's always either 2 o'clock Eastern Time or 8 o'clock Eastern Time. This week happens to be at 2 o'clock. It's how to get started online. Those guides to to end the overwhelm, to end the stopping point that many people have when they look at coming online and they just don't even know where to get started. So if there's people that you know, or if you are in that position yourself, just wondering how do I get started with this, with taking my business online, that's what the webinar is going to share tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern. I just put the link to get registered for that in the chat. It's FeliciaMupo.com/webinar, and that's what it is every single week. If you ever miss it and want to find out what the topic is, you can always go to that website. So we're right at the top of the hour. I appreciate the time that y'all spent with me this morning. This is super fun. I know we have a hand raised, so Bert, I'll let you close it out.
I just wanted to show you a fun video that I made.
Go. Yeah.
Can I show you? Okay, I'll do a screen share. This, guys, this is for you guys to know, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, Felicia, so tell me. This is so you guys all know. I posted this all over Facebook already, so like it, share it, add your link to it. This is so you guys know that it really is the last chance tonight. All right, tell me, can you see my Facebook, Felicia?
Yes, I'm seeing it.
All right, let's see if we can get some sound on it here. So I made you guys a little bit. See, that was my last chance video. I don't know if you could see. I don't know how well it translated over from Facebook to.
Are you sure you didn't just do that live right now? Because you look awfully similar.
No, I did it. Literally, I set the computer down right there and did it right before the Hangout. So it's the last chance. I'm super excited. Thank you so much, Felicia. What a great call this morning. There's nothing that I can add to make it better. It was an amazing call. I'm looking forward to actually. I need to go back and write down the. Wait, can you just tell me the name of the book again?
Yeah, it's The Big Leap.
The Big
by
Leap.
Gay Hendricks.
And I know this, guys. This is how goofy. This is how you know that anyone could do this business. I don't even know how to do it on Audible. I was like, what is this Audible thing? I can just listen to it. So that's what I'm saying. Anyone can do this, guys. I'm so focused on what I do know how to do. I could just do what I know how to do, right? I might be a genius at that, but you put me into some other world, incompetent. I have no idea what Audible even is. So I will be definitely looking into that. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you guys all for showing up today. And I want you guys to know that this is a special deal. You now know that every single Wednesdays, you're not going to see my ugly mug most of the time. It's going to be Felicia. You're going to get some new power nuggets. You're going to get something that you didn't get before. You're going to get a different point of view. And this is the cool part. It's not like I just brought on some Sally Come Lately, just some random lady that's just on the internet. Felicia is doing it. She's making things happen. She's literally an award-winning marketer. Okay, that's a powerful statement to be able to make, and that's a powerful person to be able to bring to you each and every week. And I'm super, super proud to be able to do that for you guys, so that you guys have more resources, so that you guys have more access to more people, more tools, more information. Thank you guys so much for showing up today. Have fun. I'll see you guys on the webinar. As always, any questions and concerns today, ask that one. No, I'm just teasing. You can ask either person.
Totally good. Y'all have a good morning. Talk to you soon. I think we're good.
Awesome. Did you? It's still live. Did you stop?
Mm-mm.